Good afternoon to all the viewers. On behalf of GSS Jain College of Women, I, Yashata from 3rd BSc Computer Science, feel immensely pleasured to host 3 days FDP program on the topic ICT tools on teaching and learning processes. I extend a warm welcome to everyone watching. I believe every auspicious event must start with a humble prayer. Kindly get ready for the prayer. Now I request Mrs. Satyapriya, Department of Computer Science, to give the welcome address and to introduce our today's resource person. Please, ma'am.
A warm welcome and good afternoon to one and all present here. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our resource person, Dr. Vimalnath Venkata Subramanian, Digital Marketing Trainer, Six Sigma Trainer. Hearty welcome you, sir. Hearty welcome our Principal Ma'am, Dr. M.K. Malati Ma'am, and our correspondent, Dr. Gautam P. Vaid, sir. And I also welcome all our faculty members and fellow students. I take the pleasure of introducing our resource person, Dr. Vimalnath Venkata Subramanian, sir. He is a self-driven individual with ability and willingness to serve and to produce best qualities in the efficient professionals in quality higher education of the modern era. He is also familiar with international taxation, trade and finance while handling for CA intermediate and final batches at Sri Guru Kripa Institute of Management, Chennai. With a decade of experience in academia and stint in corporate training corporate professionals at functional and business level in the essential areas like business communication, data visualization, corporate etiquettes, lead generation, and know your customer, and other core areas like decision making, creative thinking, and problem solving skills. He is also a specialized and certified digital marketing trainer and Six Sigma Green Belt who also holds a doctorate in philosophy in management stream. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Dr. Vimalnath V to carry on the session further. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ashita. Thank you, and thank you, Satyapriya ma'am, for a very brief introduction. Thanks a lot. Just to be aware, who are the participants here? Just to know, so that I can take this session more interactive. So just wanted to know the participants. Major. Can I have a reply? Okay. I'll just post the question then in the chat. Am I audible? Yes. I'm just sharing my screen. So just to confirm, is my screen visible? Just to confirm, is my screen visible? Can somebody confirm me? Whatever I'm just displaying here, are you able to see the presentation? Perfect. Perfect. So good afternoon all. We do begin with the ICT tools, commonly called the information, communication, and technology tools. What do we have that can be used, especially in management perspective, by the teachers to enhance the understanding, or in fact making it more comfortable for the students to understand what are we trying to reach them, teach them, right? Fine. So to start off with, what is teaching according to you? Can somebody, even you can post it in the comments. What is teaching according to you? A few, 2-3 words or a single word that defines teaching. Any reply? Fine. So do you say teaching is an art, or teaching is a skill? Can somebody outline on that, whether teaching is an art or skill, or is it combination of both? Anybody? Fine. Fine. So teaching is the combination of both, right? So you do call it as an art when you try to be more creative in taking the subject to the students, right? And of course, it is a skill on how do you bind technology. You're using it for communication, right? Or you wanted to connect it to your students, right? So there are different methodologies. Earlier we had where we started with recitation, and then we had the tools like blackboards, and then we moved on to whiteboards, and then now smart boards, and then now we are in screen sharing, and that's what this session is also happening now, right? So these are the evolution, what the way we lecture has changed, but the concept of teaching has always been the same right from the beginning. Like, you're going to tell the fellow students or the people around you, you're going to make them understand, go in depth in search of information, and processing that information would give them knowledge, and applying that knowledge would give them the actual wisdom, right? So that evolution can be done only through the proper methodology or tool that we use as a teacher, right? So how do you balance the necessities? So how many here have the habit of carrying books while you go to the classroom? How many? Yeah. Do you carry books while you go to the classroom? Or do you carry pen drives or laptops or notebooks while you go to the classroom? Most of us. Yeah. Yes, Catherine, ma'am. Most of you are taking it. Good. how many have insisted your fellow students to go through the textbook, visit the library, let it be the campus library or any other central library, what we have got? How many have insisted? Can I have a yes, no, maybe? The physical reading has drastically come down. We are busy with Kindle, the portable document format, otherwise called PDFs, because the textbooks have come on. There are easy sources where you get all these contents. Right? Google supports us best in these aspects, right? So having all these, there is always a balance that we have to have between the books and technology, right? All that technology give you, books may not give you, and all that books give you, technology may not give you, right? And that's the aspect. How do you balance both? So taking this session forward, it doesn't mean that you need to be only with the technology, for the lectures, which means I'm not doing justice to the textbooks with which we all have gained knowledge. We all, in the sense, it includes you, me, and all other senior faculty, the eminent professors. Everybody have gained knowledge, achieved wisdom only by reading books, and where there was no technology there. But now why is it technology playing a key role? Somebody? Now why all of a sudden technology is playing a key role? Is it because, for example, COVID, post-COVID, pre-COVID, is there an impact? Or because there is a development, because there is a better tool that could make us connect better? Okay, Catherine, and you say because of COVID. Okay, maybe because of COVID, COVID has acted as a catalyst. You call catalyst, right? What is catalyst? Something that makes the reaction to have faster, right? So that's what we call it as catalyst. Maybe COVID helped to act as a catalyst, but whereas technology is something that we are supposed to carry, right? Because the student would be able to connect to it better than a book, right? At these aspect, like for example, a book can definitely give you knowledge, but a technology can give an experience, right? So there is always a difference what you have got between knowledge and experience, right? So book exposes you to the concept, whereas technology gives you the experience of a new learning, right? Today, for example, somebody have come across an advertisement from Lenskart, right, where you sit at home, try the three-dimensional technology, what they give. We call it as VR, or augmented reality and virtual reality, with which you just choose whether the specs is suiting your face or not, even before you wanted to buy it. Rather, you have to go to the shop, physically check, and then, okay, this is suiting me, I have to buy. But now, just sitting at your home with your mobile phone, you will be able to do that. So this is the development what you have got, which is slightly reducing the job. But in teaching, we can't say like it has reduced the job. It is actually acting as a catalyst, right? Maybe the understanding becomes more easier when we use the communication tools like that. Fine. So eliminate the traditional methods. So what we call traditional methods here, right? For example, solving it on the board. So does that mean that today blackboards are not required? Of course it is required, right? So traditional method, what do we mean here is going monotonous, right? Today you have read this, today itself you have to go for a test. The test can be very, very different. Now the patterns set by universities are changing. Right? Hope you are all with me. Is it same or different? Today we have got case studies, right? How do you evaluate a student's performance, whether they are listening to your class or not? Conduct a quiz regularly. The quiz need not be like a 4 option that you give. It could even be a puzzle. It could be even a crossword that you just try to make students be more interactive, more intuitive to your classroom, right? Because why do I say that is Google can give always better answers than what a teacher can give, right? That's the mentality of student. But the exposure that you give them, the experience that you give them in the classrooms, that Google can never give, right? Means you make them feel thirst for knowledge, right? You make them go search a solution for a problem, right? So when these kind of activities are done, then the student engagement in your classroom goes up, for which you need the support of the technology, right? So that's what I meant here. Like, don't use the traditional method of taking the book, just going through it, or making a PPT. We believe that taking a PowerPoint is an actual technology. Not really, right? There are modern tools that has come in. So first, try to make your presentation interactive, right? Always have an inquisitive, right? Try to keep something surprise, create curiosity throughout your session. For example, every session that I find in today's college is not more than 50 minutes, 50. But there is a survey that states the student cannot focus on one particular focal point more than 20 minutes. So how are you going to engage them? Maybe 15 minutes you take a concept. Next 5-10 minutes, make them think about the concept what we have discussed. Give them real life situations. Do a role play, at least weekly once. Every day you got to carry a different tool. Maybe first day, Monday you are doing a role play. Tuesday go with a quiz. Wednesday go with a crossword. Thursday go with maybe a puzzle. Friday go with assignments so that they can do it on Saturdays and Sundays and get back to you. Make them come forward. Try to make an interactive presentation. Right? And second, have an image-based slides. For example, don't go with paragraphs, points. It might, at one point of time, they might get too much of tired, right? So when they become tired, they lose focus on your class. So instead, create images that would pull them, that would make them focus on your methodology. And have a collaborative writing. What is called collaborative writing is from a class of 60, for example, right? Try to identify 2 or 3 heads, right? Insist them on doing a research proposal. Insist them on identifying difficulties, any common aspects that everybody goes through every day. A difficulty might be in your institution. How to overcome that? Ask them to come out with solutions, a business plan, or ask them to come out with a kind of consultant, right? So intuit their thoughts, so sit with them, guide them. See, we can run along with them, but we cannot run for them. So what I would rather say is make them run, either be at the start point or be at the end point, or be with them, but never ever run for them, right? So when you do collaborative writing, what do I mean there is, don't give everything to them. Keep them under your supervision, guide them then and there when it is required, right? So that what happens at one point of time is you can start writing your own cases along with the students, right? You can start writing your own cases. So that case study which you yourself have created would give you an avenue for publications, right? So the resources are laying in plenty. in plenty. General economics says that the scarce resources, but not really. There are human brains that are available in plenty, but there are few people who try to utilize them, right? So you be one reason for a particular student to think on one dimension, to go in a particular direction. Try to guide them, take them with you, be with them. Doesn't mean that you have to run with them. That's what I keep telling you again. Go and look for live projects. What do you mean by live projects here is something that is actually happening, right? For example, those who are in Chennai might know the stormwater drain process that is happening in Chennai is a very huge issue, right? Because of which, what are the health related issues? What are, for example, the psychological issues? What a citizen might undergo? Maybe you can go and try to understand that, right? Why should a state or a city bring in something like metro? Ask them to think on that aspect. Why should a government give or charge no fee or no ticket charge for women to travel by bus? No, try to make them understand why. See, it's a deliberate loss to the government. But why are they doing it? There is a purpose behind that. This was done by one of my students. So I was really surprised with the results what he brought in. What he said was, because they allow women to go free in a bus, they started moving from one place to another place in search of work for them to work. So when they went for work, they start earning. Because they start earning, they start spending. Because they start spending, there comes your GDP. The income, expenditures, spending, investments, all these brought into one aspect. At one point of time, it is actually started giving a revenue in other form to the government. Something like that you got to think. Life projects. Why is as a government is not something that comes out to flatter the public. They do it with a purpose, right? Though there is political motto behind, but still there would be a benefit for the government as well, because end of the day, that is also a company, an organization, right? And go with socially useful projects. What is called socially useful projects? Identify students who are good in, for example, tailoring or good in sports. Give them facilities, that would make them identify people who are socially low, which means they're very poor, they don't have sufficient money. Identify them, make your students, train them. That is what we call as corporate social responsibility. Do something like that. This would give them the experience of learning, right? So this would be one of the most important modern tool, right? And digital pin boards. This is quite exciting. But before that, I just wanted to put forward a question, right? How many appreciate your student if they do something great, if they have achieved something extraordinary? Because there is always a saying, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that extra, right? For that extra efforts what they have taken, for that extra success what they have tasted, how many have appreciated them? And what would be the way you appreciate them? And that is what is digital pinboard all about. Digital pinboard is very simple. Maybe if there is a student who has done something great, take a pic with them, post it in your social media, promote their success, right? There are two aspects. Number one, it will motivate that person. And number two, it will motivate other students to also do that, right? You might have notice board in your campus, right? uh, just for the academic excellence, getting university rank, coming first in sports, all that is good. Weekly have a criteria, right? Somebody who has been on time to all the classes, somebody who has not taken leave for 15 days continuously or for the entire month, give them student of the month. There may be 2-3 people. If there are n number of people, very good. List out. Put on the notice board. So that there are two advantages again you will have other than motivation. People will come to know that they are watching you. Right. And number two, when there is an effort taken, then there is an effect that is happening. Right. So these two would be the best tool that you generally take it forward, because everybody here now looks for an appreciation. For example, Rajnikant acting in a movie, if nobody is going to appreciate the scene, nobody is going to appreciate the movie, he's not going to act next movie, right? Sachin playing in the ground, everybody says Sachin, he hits every time boundary. There is going to be nobody, no audience to watch the match, then Sachin is not going to play cricket. It's a small aspect, that would obviously every kid would be looking for is appreciation, and always try to do that, right? Way back they would have been appreciated every day by an LKG teacher. Even my son today receives a star and all in his hands, so he feels so proud that the teacher has given me a star. Even now you can do that and make them proud, make them aware that you are doing it, right? So these aspects, you can try to do, which is beyond technology. That's what I said. Get hold of your book along with technology, right? There is a 30, 60, 90-day plan, right? Before that, I just wanted to know, this is nothing related with your lesson plans that you make for your classrooms, nothing related to that. What is the time that you take to understand the students of a particular class? Anybody? What is the time that you take to understand a student of a particular class that you visit every day or weekly, twice, thrice? What is the time that you take to understand the bunch of students who are in your class? Anybody? The average time that you take to know your students, to know what kind of technology would they be able to adapt, and finally how to enhance their skill with the technology or the communication that you make. A couple of weeks, good, Madam Catherine. Couple of weeks, good. Anybody else who have got an answer? How long does it take? Okay, we'll go ahead with what Madam Catherine has told. So there is a 30-day, the first 30 days, and then first 60 days, and then first 90 days, right? So first 30 days that you take only to know the students, right? And then you try to launch the technology that you believe would support them, would enhance their understanding. And then you go with the performance check, right? Maybe from the day 1, how they were, and in day 90, how they were. You see even a slight improvement, then the methodology what you have used is successful. If you don't even see an inch of movement, then the tool that you have taken needs to be revamped, right? So, which means you have not known, you have not understood what the students are. So the first 30 days is very, very crucial, where you try to understand. The more you understand the bunch of students, you would know what tool would they choose them. It would match to their skills, to the vicinity what they have got, right? So that is the important aspect what you need to have to take it forward, right? The 30, 60-day plan. So how many believe these are the support tools that you are using? GCR is Google Classroom. The tools that you are using, how many believe these are the tools? Blackboard, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, PowerPoints, video, smart boards, applications. How many believe? These would support to your classroom discussion. Of course, it will. We are one such platform where we are talking to each other, right? Good. That's actually a communication tool. What we are speaking here, right? All that you see here is trying to communicate, right? I wanted to make the student understand the problem. I use a blackboard. I want the student to listen to my class. I put him in Google Classroom or WebEx or MS Team. Instead of Blackboard, I use PPT. And that becomes, you are moving from the conventional teaching method. Beautiful. I run a video. I use a smart board. I have applications. Right? These are all support tools. Absolutely fine and great. Then what are these? How many have heard about all these? How many? Anybody who have heard about these tools? What are they? Should I take it whether you know or you don't know? Somebody? So what is the first one that you see? Is Prezi. Prezi is actually a digital software that is generally used for creating interactive presentation, where you will have a voiceover, where you yourself can record your voice and share it to students. So whenever they wanted to go through, then they would be able to understand it better, right? And it is an improvisation of the MS PowerPoint what we are using now, Microsoft. Right? And Haiku Deck, anybody have heard about it? Haiku Deck? Haiku Deck. Haiku Deck. Haiku Deck. Haiku Deck. Maybe if you could see here, you should understand. I'll be in this page itself then. Because if somebody types a message, I would not be able to see. Right? Yeah. So no problem. Haiku Deck, what it does is, for example, if you wanted to make your student, you have given an assignment, you wanted to make them present, they generally come out with a PPT, etc. Right? Unless you ask them to use this Haiku Deck, what it does is, it confines your PowerPoint presentation. It uses it very, very minimal. As you could see, my PowerPoint, what I used is from Haiku Deck, right? You can be to the point. No passage, no big lines, nothing that you find in a presentation. It becomes again more interactive. The beauty is you can integrate your Haiku Deck with Google Classroom. Right? So that's your tool number. Have you heard of something called Flip Snack? Anybody? Flip Snack. Have you heard about something called Flipbooks earlier? Flipbooks. During our school days, we would have done, right? There was intellectual photos. Just flip the book, you'll find something. So what happens here is you try to create like a puzzle, sequence of images which is kept in different order. You ask them to align them to understand maybe a process. For example, you what background are you all? Just to touch upon, which department do you work for? Commerce or finance? Just to know, accounting? No? Maybe you keep 3 images. Let me take accounting for example. You have a journal ledger, trial balance, P&L, balance sheet, fund flow, cash flow, right? Just jumble it and give it to them, the images. Now they have to arrange it in order so that they will come to know. First, it is recorded into the journal ledger, and then it comes to the trial balance, and then it goes to the English and commerce. So commerce, then you can understand much better. For example, you wanted to know how does the elasticity of demand keeps shrinking and expanding, right? Give them the jumbled images, maybe 6 images or 5 images, what we have got. Price elasticity, where we have relative elastic, relatively inelastic, unit elastic, perfectly inelastic. 5. Keep it in some order, right? Random. Ask them to segregate it or arrange it in correct order based on the graph, how it moves, right? So this would make them aware, like what they are doing, right? Maybe you can try this in English also. How do you do that in English? Maybe you give them the 7 parts of speech, ask them to arrange that in the order, maybe, just for an understanding. Or writing a letter, give them what are the parts of a letter, jumble it, ask them to arrange in the order, right from the date, place, and then go for the salutation, and then you go for the subject line, and then the body, and then you go for the closing remarks, right? Something like that. Now you would be able to do with this flip snack. Right? How many have heard about something called Padlet? Padlet is very simple. It's a virtual notice board. For example, you put your question, which can have many answers, or you wanted to do a brainstorming with your classroom, right? So you just put a word or a question. For example, why is petrol price increasing? Because you people are into commerce. Why is petrol price increasing? Each would give different answers. In that, each will be marked there, right? Maybe end of the discussion comes to a closure after each response is consolidated into like a notice board, right? You can just copy it, print it, and put in the notice board. This was the discussion that we made, and these are the responses what we have received. Where you are allowing everybody to talk. There might be a student who might have an hesitation to talk in front of everybody in a classroom, but rather you give him option like that, you'll be able to type and give you the answer. So that is generally called Padlet. Right? Have you heard of something called Story Jumper? Story Jumper is a kind of trying to explain concepts to the students out of a story, right? Everybody would have heard about a story called Hare and the Tortoise, right? Everybody, correct? What is the moral of the story? Moral of the story, Hare and the Tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race, right? But it doesn't stop there. You wanted to make them understand, especially those who are in commerce, you wanted to make them understand like winning is important, but losing is most important, right? Because the more you lose, it gives you a lot of learning, right? Because fail itself means first attempt in learning, right? So having that aspect in mind, just think. The tortoise, this time, yes, the slow and steady. Yes, Madam Catherine. Madam Catherine has been more interactive. Thank you, ma'am, for being the savior for me, right? And just think on this note. Now the rabbit got dejected because it has lost the race. The rabbit says, "Come again for the race." It calls the tortoise, and then now they go for the race. This time the rabbit is not sleeping. So what is the second moral? A rabbit is obviously winning. Slow and steady wins the race, but being fast and reliable is better. So try to be fast and reliable, rather being slow and steady. It doesn't stop there. Now the turtle again has lost. So turtle wants to win. So turtle calls it for another race. But this time, out of 2 kilometers, they go in race. 1 kilometer they have to run, and half or other 1 kilometer they have to swim, which means rabbit goes fast and then stops. Turtle comes slow, swims, and then goes out. What is the moral of the story? Try to have a competence, try to have your interest, and play with your strength. Right? By the time both have become good friends, so now they go to the race, but together. Right? That's what we call moral teamwork. Now 1 kilometer, the rabbit carries the tortoise, and in water, the tortoise carries the rabbit. Both are one together. At the end of the day, it is a teamwork that wins. So these kind of learning can be done through this story jumper, right? And then we have got Edmodo. Heard about Edmodo? And we have Quizlet. Quizlet is very popular. You just give your content, it creates a quiz content what you have given, right? It's an automatic content quiz create, right? Edmodo is a point where you can bring in parents, students, and teachers together. The parents can come to know what is the progress of a student through this. And finally, we have got something called Schoology. Heard about Schoology? Anybody? You want to distribute materials, you want to give assessment, you want to track progress, you can bring everything into this called Schoology, right? Because we always speak about 3 aspects here. Knowing the students and performance check is most important there, right? And when ICT, it can create an impact, it can give satisfaction both to you and the students. It can improve your efficiency along with the students' efficiency. And out of all the resources that is available, as you could see, there are only 1/4 of resource which we have used. There is 3/4 another that is pending. Let's start tapping that resource also, and that's what this session is also all about, right? So learning is the only experience, so all others are just information. So all that I have given you now for the past 45-50 minutes is only information, right? When you go start using it on your own, the devices, the tools that I've told you, then that is the real learning, because learning is the only experience that you could gain. And thank you to the management for giving me this opportunity to present before eminent faculty members here on the ICT tools that we have got for the today's education arena, right? Any questions I'm open for, please. If there are any questions, I'm open for it. There are no questions that are stupid, and there are no answers that are stupid. At one point of time, if somebody have told there will be a 2-ton metal that would fly in the air, nobody would have believed, but we are seeing every day the aeroplane flying up, right? So these were all the outcomes of stupid questions that is being posted by the scientists or the engineers or the inventors. So any questions from your end, we are open for it. Oh, thank you, Madam Catherine. If there are no questions, take a thank you from me. That's it. Ma'am, we'll close for the day. If there are no questions, Satyapriya ma'am or Yashita, if you're there. Okay, fine. I believe there are no questions.
Good afternoon, all. On behalf of GSS Jain College, I, Dr. Pushpalata from Department of Commerce, take this privilege to deliver vote of thanks. I thank our respected Principal Ma'am, Dr. M.K. Malati, for motivating and guidance. I thank our Honorable Secretary, Sir, Dr. P. Gautam P. Vaid, for his support and guidance. I thank today's guest, Dr. Vimalnath, for joining us and making this event meaningful. Your session was inspiring and useful for the faculty members, sir. Thank you, sir. I thank
Thank you.
Satyapriya ma'am to give us the opportunity to conduct the FTP program. My special thanks to all our faculty members and other college participants for taking initiative and participating in this event. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody kindly raise for national anthem. Thank you, sir.